Okay, thank you. Welcome again. Good morning. So last time we were talking about interrupts. We talked how interrupts work, and we talked about the types of interrupts with the 16F84A controller. And we started a demo about the demo purpose was to make, port the data sheet. It's port B0/INT. So this pin is shared between so we're gonna do something that has an
دكتور بيعلق جدا بيعلق دكتور
بقطع اكثر من قبل.
هلا رجع يقطع.
بدي ارجع على الواي فاي. سو استنوا طيب خليكم. اذا مش شو المشكله؟ لا. So let me pause هذا recording قبل ما يزبط. طيب, okay, sorry for the interruption. So we were saying that we started interrupts last time, and we talked about the types of interrupts that the 16F84A microcontroller deals with, and then we talked about the interrupt configuration register and where all the enables and flags for all interrupts are present. Then we started working on a real example for an interrupt. The example was to use the external interrupt that is shared with port B0 and have it interrupt the normal flow of the program in the main loop when a falling edge or a rising edge occurs on this pin, to stop doing the normal process اللي هي راح اتفقنا تكون shift or bouncing LED and go do something else like blinking other LEDs for 10 times and then go back to port to shifting the LED on port C. And we started the program and we wrote the skeleton, if you remember. So the skeleton of the program will look like this. We have the main function. Here, first we do the initializations of all registers, like port directions, like enabling. Then the infinite loop in the main function. This is the normal task that has to be done forever. And when an interrupt happens, the program counter will move from here up to execute interrupt service routine here that we write it in C like this. We say interrupt like a function. It's not a function, but we're telling the compiler when you convert this to assembly, put it somewhere, and in address 04 hex, write an instruction to direct the program to execute code. Tamam? Okay. So let's start. So what we want to do is to make one LED turn on port C, صح هيك اتفقنا؟ وبعدين يصير يعمل shift back and forth, right? So we need to configure port C and port B as outputs. Then we're going to use port C. So we do the initializations here. طيب. So طبعا the first example we did change the bank, right, and go to bank 1 and bit 5 status register, make it 1 and إلى آخره. We don't have to do this here in this using this compiler. We did it for the first time to learn. Now, يعني to be faster, we don't have to do it. But if you don't have a smart compiler, you will have to do it. Okay. So for the port C, TRISC, port C, it's going to be an output port. So 0x00, right? So port C is output. For port B, TRS tri-state buffer B will be let's make the most 4 significant bits as output and the least 4 as input, for example. So 0x 0f. So port B 0 to port B 3 are input, while port B 4 to port B 7 will be output.
دكتور هذا مش comment.
هذا مش comment. Thank you. Okay. Then what? I want to interrupts. I want to enable the interrupts. First, globally, all interrupts in general, then locally, right? What we want to do, if we go here, what we want to do is to make this bit 1, right? To let any interrupt in general pass. And the external interrupt, which is this one, interrupt enable bit, we want to make it enable. Okay, so what do we do? Oops. Interrupt configuration register. Can I clear reset slide? So what we want to do here is to enable the global interrupt bit, make it a 1, right? So we write a 1 here, and we want the external interrupt enable to become a 1 right here. And everything else, just keep it as is or just zeros. Tamam? So this is what? 0x 9 0. High 9, high 0. Tamam? So this is what we write in the INTCON register. INTCON register. If we go back here, sorry, to the code, we say INTCON, interrupt configuration register, equals 0x90. Okay. So what we did, we did set the global interrupt enable and the external interrupt enable. Interrupts locally and globally. Then the bouncing ball, the bouncing LED will be on port C. To turn on the first LED, then we start shifting it, right? So the initial value for port C will be port C equals 0x01. So this will make port B 0, port C 0 equals 1, and port C1 to port C7 will equal 0, right? So this is port C. Port C initially we want it to be 0. Okay. Turned off, the LEDs are turned off. Then in the while loop, so we're done with the initializations. So we're done with the initializations. In the infinite loop, start shifting the LEDs. So we know that we have 8 LEDs on port C, right? That we want to shift. So we can repeat a shift 7 times to the left, then repeat it to the right 7 times. So we can see it, right? Like الثامن بالضاوي. Between every shift and shift, we do a delay. So we can think of something like مثلا we need to declare I is going to count to 7, so it doesn't have to be more than, right? So here we can say unsigned character. Unsigned character will reserve 8 bits in the memory, okay, in the memory, in the data memory. طيب. For I equals 0 and semicolon, I less than 7, then I plus plus. What do we do? We do a shift, right? So the shift will look like, well, because the first LED is on already, we want to see, we want to give some delay before we shift it, okay? So we call our delay first, my delay. This is a function we wrote last time, my delay function. We write it again in a second. And it is a delay loop that wastes time, okay? We did not get to how to compute delays here. We're gonna get it when we start dealing with the timer. Then we do port C, shift left 1 time. So port C will be the previous value of port C shifted left. This is the sign for shift left, okay? يعني أصغر أصغر ولا أكبر أكبر, whatever. Shift left 1 time or 2 times or whatever. احنا ودنا 1 time and then repeat it 8 times, okay? So 1 time. And that's it for the shift left. Then, so this will make the LED start shifting port C0, PC1, C2 up to C7. But then I want to bounce it back, right? So another loop for I equals 0, I less than 7, I plus plus, and this is C, right? And you guys are much better than me in C. My delay function, just to make some delay between the shift and shift so we can see it. Then we shift right, port C equals port C shift right 1 time. And this is repeated in the for loop for 7 times. تمام. سكرنا القوس. So this is عشان ما تنسوش shift left, and this is shift right. Okay. هلا بدنا نكتب الماي ديلي. الماي ديلي function ما كتبناهوش. I remember انه we can copy it from last time. This is the code we did last time. The my delay function be here. Let's just copy this one. شو رايكم? So my delay, if we start here, من هون لهون صح؟ Copy, and we can put it here at the end. My delay. AI, we used it. Well, it's local. We don't have to change it. بس يعني خلاص. Sometimes to compile that had these stupid issues. I'm not sure this one is one of them, but يعني. Okay, so this is a delay. Let's try the prototype up there. Let's write it somewhere here. My delay. I think we're ready to go. طلعوا. بدي تركيز. Yes.
My delay عامل له call spelling غلط.
Yeah. ماله؟
لما تعمل call my delay ثاني مرة بالfollow.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. يعني أنت you're a see. You tell us before what happens, when it happens. Okay, great. we're ready to go. طيب لاحظوا لي شغلة. Look at, did we ever in this code read for port B0? يعني if we look at our last program we did last time when we turned on the motor, remember how we checked port B0? We said if port B ended with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 7 zeros and 1, this will be true if only the button is pressed, right? Well, if not pressed, and false if it's pressed. And then we distinguish if port B is pressed. If not pressed, I mean this part of the code. If it's this part of the code will be executed, right? So what we did here, قول لي.
الصوت بيقطع، رجع بيقطع.
Okay, I don't know what to do.
Well, it's kind of understandable بس صعب يعني لازم هيك نضل مركزين وهيك.
بدنا نركز احنا. I don't know. You know what? Can I join from a phone best voice? Let me pause the recording again. Okay, back to the program. Sorry for this. I'm gonna go through orange. طيب, if you remember what I was talking about, in our program we just wrote here. ليش هيك؟ in this program اللي كتبناه قبل شوي, we said shift the LED on port C left 8 times, then shift it right 8 times, right? But this is the only thing we do forever. Do you see any line of code that checks if port B0, the button on it, is pressed or not? No, right? Nowhere. While what we did last time in our code when we actuated the motor, we had an if condition. We had an if condition. Last time? Yeah. We had an if condition checking for port B, bit 0. We masked all the bits and looked at this bit, right? Port B0. And if it was true, the button not pressed, we did something. And when it was false, the button is not pressed, we did another thing, right? So we had to read a port. Now imagine a button is pressed while you were stuck here in this delay. You will not notice it and go execute the else before you go back again and check for port B0. This is called pulling. The difference today here is that we did not write any line of code to check port B0. The hardware is going to do it. The hardware is going to interrupt us. That's why it's called an interrupt, external interrupt. All what we did is that we enabled the external interrupt globally and locally. Now, if a falling edge happens on port B0, immediately the program counter, wherever it was, it will be pushed to the stack, then moved to this location and execute whatever in here. طيب. We're not ready. We need to tell it what to do when the interrupt happens or when the button is pushed. What to do? We want to blink port B 10 times. Okay, easy. We can say port B equals port B. Well, tell the port B, right? Yani invert port B. So what was on will be off. What was off will be on. Then we call the my delay, and my delay is global, right? So both the interrupt will see it, and it's global because I defined it here, right? All functions will see it. For 10 times, we need the counter then here, right? So we say for, we need to define a unsigned character, maybe, what do we call it? What? X. Okay. then for x equals 0, x less than, for sometimes less than 10, x plus plus, right? And do this for 10 times. Then what do we do? The most important thing we don't want to forget, we clear the flag. What flag? What flag?
الماسكبل
overflow flag.
الاكسترنال انتربت فلاج، يعني هذا الاكسترنال انتربت. الانيبل وانيبل في البدايه، هلا الفلاج هذا we need to clear it. ذاكرين هون the flag هذا once it's 1 راح يضل 1 حتى لو راح السورس تاع الانتربت، لو صار 0 0 this will no change, right? So we need to clear it. We make it a 0. احنا we make it a 0. So how do we clear it? We come and write a 0 over here. لا مش here. Where is the flag? Here. External interrupt flag. We make this a 0 without changing any value. شوف أنا عندي global interrupt enable already 1 و external interrupt enable already 1. We cannot just say go write zeros everywhere, right? We want to keep everything as is, but make this only this a 0. How do we do this? We can add INTCON register with what? If you add anything with 1, it will stay as is, right?
Yes.
Only for this bit, we end it with a 0, so it will be cleared. So we end with F D, right? This is D, 1101. So we add INTCON with 0x F D. This will clear the INTF bit, this one, to make it a 0. So FD. So we say INTCON register equals INTCON ANDed with FD. Well, 0x FD, right? Clear the interrupt flag. If you don't do this, whenever you push the button, the main program loop will be interrupted. Go execute this 10 times, go back. Oh, it's still the flag is 1. Go back and jump directly back here. It will stay blinking port B forever. Okay, and you will feel like your program got stuck. So we need to clear the flag. Now we're ready. Now we are ready. We can build our program. Let's build it.
ممكن أسأل؟
اسأل تفضل.
بالاسمبلي مش كان يحط الجلوبال انتربت انيبل يخليها 0 عشان ما يعمل انتربت للانتربت؟ يعني هون بيعمله لحاله؟
لحاله, yes. يعني this is part of the reaction of the CPU when an interrupt happens. يعني the hardware makes it 0. Okay, we'll disable it. We'll enable it again. هلا احنا ما كتبنا return هون لانه C. يعني انت مجرد ما سكرت الجوس يعني هذا خلص راح يعمل return. بس if you look at the assembly listing اللي راح ينتج عن هذا الcompilation, you're going to find the return. Okay. So I'm building and programming the microcontroller. High speed, watchdog timer enabled, 77A, everything correct, and it is programming. Okay, and I want to turn on the camera for a second so you can see it, okay? for a second. I'm going to stop sharing, and turn on the camera and switch it to the USB camera so you can see it. So when you first start, I'm going to reset. Here's the reset button, the master clear. So we just started. C, port C0. ها؟
ما طلع الكاميرا.
ما طلع الكاميرا.
لا
لا
ايوه هاي طالعه مبينه
بلا طالعه.
انتوا دوروا عليها
دكتور.
يا جماعه. هسه انا لاني بحكي من ديفايس ثاني طالعه صوره ستاتيك تاعت الديفايس. انتوا روحوا دوروا بين الاسماء، اعملوا جريد فيو، راح تلاقي بلال صبابحه ثانيه عليها بورد.
دكتور تمام.
ايوه
لقيتوها؟
Yes.
اوكي لقيتوها. So
يس.
I'm gonna push the reset button again. ايوه اوكي here master clear عشان كأنه بلشنا من جديد. Reset. So port C0 was on. Shift. It's gonna keep shifting forever. Okay. So where's the interrupt part? Now port B0 is high. طيب, it's through a pull-up resistor. When I push it at any time, شوف وقف الشيفت وصار يعمل ايش؟ blinking. You see the blinking? والشيفت stopped for 10 times. Well, until you're gonna see him 5 times. لأنه 5 on 5 off يعني 10. Again, should I do it again? شوف لحظي immediate. While احنا هون كنا في loop ودelays وابصر. If we did it without interrupts, you're not gonna respond immediately. See the interrupt? Beauty. Okay, should I move on? Everything clear?
Yes, doctor.
Yes. تمام. طيب, I'm going to turn off the video, so the quality, and go back to sharing. شو أسئلة؟
دكتور قبل السؤال عادي أسأل أنا سؤال؟
اسألي.
اوكي هلا لما عملنا shift left و shift right عملنا انه port C equals port C greater less than 1 وبعدين greater than 1.
هذه اسمها مش less اسمها shift.
هي هيك shift في ال C programming يعني. اوكي
yes. in C هذه less هاي معناتها shift left.
اوكي تمام.
وهاي shift right. اوكي.
yes اوكي.
طيب, if we made this one a 2 يعني لو عملناها هاي 2 بصير شوفي jumps 2 places بدل 1 place.
تمام.
Okay. Any questions over here? All good? Okay, great. طيب. So you see how interrupts work? طيب. Let's go back to, so يعني now we know what are interrupts, how to write interrupt service routine. What is the interrupt service routine? Here, this is called the interrupt service routine. طيب, well, if we look at the C code, the assembly, بس يعني هيك real quick. If we look at the assembly, oops. If we go to the assembly listing, this is the build, right? If I say show me the assembly code or the list even حتى في LST, I don't see it. Here. Okay. I try to open this through Notepad. Okay. This is the resulting program from what we wrote. Okay. This is the machine code. طلع شغلة. Origin 0 قلت له go to 73 at origin 0 at address 0 قلت له go to 73. So our main program started at address 73. 73, if you scroll down, 73. What is 73? كمان بعده 73 هون شايفين 71 end of main 73.
دكتور هاي 73 لسه لتحت موجود.
لا هذه
هو
أشياء ثانية.
73 decimal
هاي داتا هاي داتا من variables location بالداتا 70
يمكن decimal.
decimal يمكن اوكي somewhere في main المين it should be شوف هاي shifts شايفينها كيف interpreted to what increment to go to main 5 شكله المين 5 هون main 5 هاي الوايل 1 شوف الوايل 1 وبعدين عندنا هاي الانيشاليزيشن هاي المين so our main program started here at 48 ticks اوكي هلا الانتربت سيرفيس روتين هاي ريتيرن تحت الديلي لانه فانكشن we called it it's a subroutine لما قلنا له my delay هون my delay هاي ايش call my delay موجوده somewhere وفيها return بس الانتربت سيرفيس روتين اطلع address 04 حكينا بلشنا نكتب هون يعني هو ما قال له go to somewhere هو كتب at address 4 معه مجال كبير لانه هو ودى المين بروجرام ل 73 سو كتب الانتربت سيرفيس روتين هون اوكي واخر شيء بالانتربت سيرفيس روتين قال له return from interrupt هاي الانتكون ريجستر عمل اف هاي اللي هي تصفيرة البت اوكي وبعدين there should be a return from interrupt هيا شايفينها yeah so let's go back
دكتور سؤال صغير بس هسه الشفت اللي احنا عملناه هو نفس الروتيت اللي اخذناه قبل نفس الانستركشن تاع الروتيت
yes the rotate will do a shift yes يعني اذا طلعت هسه رجعت باك على السي هون the shift here هناك راح تلاقيها معموله روتيت yes بالاسم yes rotate through carry بس انت في هاي الحاله you need to check the carry شو لازم تسويه بالاول صح اذا بدكش تدخل 1 بداله او
مزبوط صح
yeah. طيب cool شوف هذا سامبل كود كاتب لك اياه بالكتاب about interrupts so you know يعني if you want to do this in C in assembly the book is all about assembly but if you want to do it يعني at origin 0 you say go to main or go to start or you write your main code تمام or at origin 4 you should say go to interrupt service routine interrupt service routine بتكون كاتبه somewhere هون وفيه what you want to do احنا عملنا البلينك واخر شيء بده يكون return from interrupt
دكتور ممكن سؤال؟
تفضل.
كيف ممكن احدد البريورتي للانتربت؟ هلا اذا ممكن انا كبست البوش بوتن وفي اوريدي جاييني كمان
انتربت ثاني تايمر زيرو افرض في انتربت ثاني تايمر زيرو بيقلب وبوش بوتن ويجي مع بعض كيف تحدد؟
بالضبط.
good question and it's coming next really so يعني راح اجاوبك عليه بس in general many microcontrollers many processors كيف انا عندي 04 لما الانتربت هذا صار the program counter goes to 04 interrupt vector many computers many controllers many processors عندهم اكثر يعني if interrupt 1 happens you go to 04 if interrupt 2 happens you go to 05 وهناك you handle them okay وبكون في priority اذا اجوا مع بعض 04 له higher priority than 05 لكن in our microcontroller this one there are no priorities whatever interrupt happens you're going to go to 04 so timer 0 صار ولا push button صار بنفس الوقت you're going to go to 04 Anyways, okay, so the hardware doesn't check this for you. Now, when you go to 04, it's your responsibility to write the code and check what interrupt happened. If you enable multiple interrupts, we can say, is the external interrupt flag 1 ولا 0? معناته بعدين if the timer 0 interrupt flag 1 ولا 0, okay, you check these flags. هذول. Sorry, port B change interrupt flag, is it 1? Then do this. Then I check this one. Is this one interrupt flag? Then في شيء طلب external interrupt. Do this. يعني if do this, else do this, else if do this. ترتيبك للانتربت when you check the interrupt flags هون انت رتبت البريوريتي. اذا شكيت هذا, if you check this one and execute some code after checking this one immediately and keep executing the code for this one in the else, then you made this lower priority. We're going to do it, okay? We're going to do it. I'll show it next. So the hardware doesn't check priorities for you. You need to check it. And you set the priorities in case of multiple interrupts. طيب. Now, there's another important register that has to do with interrupts and timer 0. It's called the option register. اسمها مش مبين هون لأنه مخبى تحت. See, option register. Here in the bottom. Option register. Okay. So this important register, option reg. That's how we write it. Is an 8-bit register placed in the data memory in the RAM and used for multiple purposes. And this time I'm not going to explain every bit in it يعني هيك يعني in a single shot. I'm going to do them gradually as we use them. But in general, the first 3 bits are called prescaler bits. These 3 bits. Prescaler bits. Prescalers is a way to slow down a clock source. طيب. So if my clock frequency is 8 megahertz, the oscillator frequency equals 8 megahertz. طيب. Timer 0 ممكن increments every instruction. So the frequency of the instruction is the oscillator frequency divided by 4, right? So it will be 2 megahertz. Okay, so every 2 megahertz translates into time will be 1 على 2.5 microseconds, right? هلا, if we use this clock as is to increment the timer 0, it will increment every 0.5 microseconds. طيب. But if we make a prescaler 1 to 2, which means 0.5 microsecond plus 0.5 microsecond, يعني 2 times, the increment will happen. Okay, so you slowed it by 2. If you do a prescaler, هذا البريسكيلر 1 to 32, يعني every 0.5 microsecond ضرب 32, okay, which is 16 microsecond, بصير في عندي increment بدل 0.5. So you slow down a clock source. Okay, هذا معنى البريسكيلر. And you can use it the timer 0 and you can use it for the watchdog timer. How? There's a bit here, which is bit 3, this one, PSA. PSA is the prescaler assignment bit. These 3 bits, when we sign a prescaler to slow down a clock, what clock do we want to slow down? The clock incrementing the watchdog timer or the clock incrementing timer 0? We decide, okay? But there is only one prescaler here, okay? You choose either to use it for this timer or this timer. بعدين في عندي source edge timer 0, source edge select bit. We will see this. Hi, timer 0, source edge timer 0 is a counter. We talked about it before. We're gonna go to details more. This counter فيه له clock source. A clock source. Do we want the timer to increment on the rising edge or on the falling edge? We decide here. We're gonna see it later. بعدين timer 0 clock source. How do we want to increment timer 0? What is the clock source? Is it the internal? Is it the internal instruction clock, or is it something external? We also choose. We look at it later. وبعدين I'm gonna skip this for a second. Port B7. Port B7. We talked about this bit in chapter 3 when we studied the ports. Port B pull-up enable bit. This is the weak pull-up resistor for port B, if you remember it. Do you remember it? Do you remember it, guys?
دكتور.
مين اللي قالها؟
أنا فارس.
فارس، برافو عليك يا فارس. بس I'm gonna show it. يعني again I'm gonna show it. I think it was in it was in chapter 3 قال port. I think it was in chapter 3 when we talked about the ports. Time is يعني almost up بس port B here. Do you remember this? This weak pull-up resistor here?
Yes.
For port B 0 to 3.
Yes.
And
Yes.
4 to 7. Weak pull-up. تذكرتوا شو فائدتها هاي؟ هاي this means إنه هذا مايكرو كنترولر. إحنا بنوصل على port B مثلا port B 0 push button. Okay? Push button. بنيجي بنحط له هون pull up resistor ل VCC. بنحط له resistor هون. high ground. This is what we did in the past few examples. However, you can choose not to do this and have this resistor connected internally for you. Okay? Internally. يعني انت بس يعني انت in real life you just bring the push button and connect it. And this resistor you do it by hardware. You enable it here. This port B pull up. If you write a 0 here, then this enable is connected. تمام? So how do we do this? We do it here by making this bit. We write a 0 here. Then you can directly go connect a push button to any port B pin without using a pull-up resistor. Okay. The last thing, the interrupt edge, and I'm gonna end with this. Interrupt edge. Remember our example we did right now? The example now, the external interrupt, when we had the LEDs shifting back and forth. Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Yes.
The default for this bit is 0, so the interrupt happened on a falling edge. يعني لما أنا كبست الكبسة كنت هاي كان port B0 كان هاي كان ضاوي إذا شفتوه. لما كبست الكبسة it went to ground so صار falling edge when I pressed. بس لما شلت إيدي when I released it went high. This is called a rising edge. And we said an interrupt is immediate response. Do we want the interrupt to happen on a falling edge or a rising edge? You can configure it by changing this bit to 0 or 1. Is this clear?
Yes.
And what we did now, and I connected, what we did right now, I connected port B0 to a push button. يا جماعة هون I connected to push button, but this could be a signal coming from any system, okay? and the rising edge or falling edge time بيناتهم could be long. The rising edge could come first, then the falling edge, or the falling edge can come first, and then the rising edge. Okay, so the interrupt will respond on the edge you select in the option register. Next time, inshallah, we will continue with the interrupts and start looking at the timer 0 interrupt. Okay, the timer 0. We did, and these are examples we did. Handling. We're going to talk about فارس. سؤال تاع فارس. Handling multiple interrupts. كيف نتعامل مع multiple interrupts وكيف نعمل priority. طيب. ونحكي عن شوية critical regions. كيف بعض الأماكن you don't want the interrupt to interrupt you. بعدين نيجي على timer 0. So we're going to be staying in this chapter for a while بصراحة. And that's why we may يعني take extra sessions. I'm going to end the recording for the يعني official class recording, but you stay and have any question if you want.
الله يعطيك العافيه.
الله يعطيكم العافية. Thank you very much.